We are prepping candle wicks to make some tea lights. So first of all, I'm using size 4/0 braided cotton wick. There's no metal. And then I have wax melting over here. So what I'm going to do is just dip the end of my wick, and then I'm going to pinch it with my fingers to make it smooth, so bear with for a sec. Next, you're going to take your wax tip and you're going to slide all your wick tabs down. Sorry, I'm holding the camera while I'm trying to slide your wick tabs down onto, so you can put the whole batch on here. I've already got some started. So slide your wick tabs onto your waxed end. It makes it easier for them to slide on, so you're not dealing with the cotton wick pieces fraying on you while you're trying to do this. So, alright, so that's just the demonstration, and then slide them down. You can see I already have a whole wackadoodle of them right there. What you do is you run the wick tab up your wick, and I have my sample size here. Sometimes I'll have the measurements laid down on my board like a ruler, and I can measure there, but today I'm just doing it this way. So I measure the length, and I with the one that I've got done, and then I pinch it so that the wick won't move. I'm kind of holding it to the edge so that I've got some space. And this is a special plier. It's actually a wire cutting plier, but we use it to crimp the disc, the little pokey outy, that's the technical term, of the disc. So I'm going to line it up so that it will crush. There we go. So it crushes the part that sticks up. So now it stays in place. Then I take my scissor and trim off the bottom. Voila! Here we are. I have my wick tabs that I prepared, pair of tweezers. I've already got quite a few of them done. So you just grab it with a tweezer of some kind. My melted wax is over here. Dip and out. I'm not making a candle, so just in and out. And there's one. Grab another. Dip. That's it. Drop. And dip. So this is pre-waxing the wicks for the tea lights that we're going to make in a couple minutes. I have melted wax here, and I want to give it a little bit of a filter. So I have a metal container here that has a pour spout, and I have a filter, which I'll talk about later, set on top, held in place by clips. And I'm just going to do a pour to put some of this wax into that cup. I'm just going to hold with paper towels on the handles. You have to keep stopping because you don't want to over pour your filter. That's probably plenty. And that went through beautifully. Now these filters, if you're a beekeeper, they are actually, if you're old, like I am, you'll know what these are. They're round filtered discs, and they're used for filtering cow's milk back in the day. There are still farmers that would use these today, although modern farming probably uses something totally different. But in my day, we used to have a bulk tank where all the milk was held, and you would put this filter, and then this metal thing would plunge down on top of it, which was a lot like the thing you plug your sink with, the metal thing you plug your sink with, and it would filter the milk before it goes into the bulk tank. So there you go. You've probably already guessed that I'm old. So here I have my melted wax that I'm going to pour into the tea light mold. My temperature is 82 Celsius and I want to pour at 74 Celsius. So I'm okay to let that sit for a minute while I come over here and do the next stage. Did I mention that you can use these cow's milk filters in your smoker to light your smoker? So you've already got some fuel, the beeswax, to light that up. So hang on to these. And I'm not done with this filter yet. I can use it a few more times. All right. Tea lights. Please invest in a proper tea light mold. I have seen some tea lights for sale on Etsy, and their wicks are not even centered in the candle. I've even seen wicks way over near the edge. That candle's not going to burn properly and could be dangerous. So, and don't buy those candles that don't have centered wicks. Please don't support that. Or at least contact the seller and say, hey, if you're going to send me my candles, I want them all centered. So the ones that are off center, they are, I don't know what they're doing. If they're gluing the, I don't have any of the little aluminum cups for tea lights, but they're probably setting that down in there, maybe with some glue, and then pouring, and it's shifting. It's not, and the wick isn't being held straight up. So it's not just that they didn't center the disc in the bottom of the mold. The wick, well here, you see the wick would just angle over like that. It wouldn't be straight. Sorry, there. And so that's part of the problem, is that when you pour the wax, you have this crooked wick. So sometimes they sell these as individual cups that you can buy, or in this case, this cost me, I bought this about over 10 years ago, probably closer to 15 years ago. It was $80, and which is a lot of money, but it was so worth it. It comes with these metal pins that come out. There's perfectly centered holes there, and once you shove the pins into the holes, no wax will leak out through the bottom when you pour. So this is ready to go, and now it has little bits of wax on it from previous uses, and I would recommend that you do. And this tool, the heat gun, is going to be your best friend if you're candle making. So get one. They're not that much money, and they're fabulous. So you don't really need to heat this mold up because it's not a pillar candle. But if there's little bits of wax in the bottom, little tiny chunks, instead of them joining up with the new wax as a chunk, if you heat up your mold first with your heat gun, it will melt any of those little chunks, so they will become liquid wax, so that when you pour your wax, it will very easily become one solid little brick. So I'm just going to warm that up for a minute. Another thing is, you'll probably see this in a future video, but I'll mention it now. If you're filtering and the wax is getting cool, you can actually rewarm the wax in your filter with your heat gun. Do you see how it's liquefying? And if this wax here in my pot that was too hot gets too cold, I can heat the metal. You could blow on the top, but you want to be careful you don't bubble it over. So you could actually blow on the metal to warm it up. So the heat gun is your best friend. Okay, I'm happy with that. Bringing my little pot. I hope it's within the screen. Let me move things over. There, so you can see. Let's check the temperature. 74 degrees Celsius. It's 70, so it's actually a little bit on the cool side. So here we go. I'm going to warm it up a little. 74 Celsius is the perfect pouring temperature for beeswax. I will put the Fahrenheit on the screen for you. Okay, temperature is ready. And now we're going to do a pour. Ready? And we're going to do a pour. Just move that little guy out of the way. Okay, here we go. I try to pour it as full as I can without overflowing too much. And the wax will contract a bit once it cools. So I try to kind of give it a bit of a bubbled top. I want the customer to feel they're getting their money's worth, a full tea light, not shorten the mix. If you see bubbles, you can take your finger and you can ting-ting on the rubber. There we go. Okay. Now you can see that the wax, I can just remelt that with my heat gun, or I can put it in a double boiler and melt it that way. Of course, metal can't go in the microwave. And so now what you do is you set your timer for 10 minutes and we'll be back. We are back. Okay, let's see if I can. All right, so 10 minutes has gone by. So now what we do, these are not hard. They're still soft and malleable. But what we're going to do, they're still warm, is I'm going to remove the stem. Then I'm going to take my wick, my pre-prepared wick, push it up through the hole. I can then give it a little press on the bottom. Don't press too hard because you'll make a indentation. And then I can just push in a little tiny bit on the center. Set it down to cool. So pull it out and then remove the spike. Grab one of your pre-waxed, it's got a bit of extra wax on it. Push it through, push in on the bottom so it sticks. And then you can even trim that wick down a little bit more if you want to. When these are done, I usually do a quality control. And if there are some that I'm just not happy with, I just put them back in the wax pot and melt them again. And then, so I don't let the wax go to waste. Let me see this one more time. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so this is filtered. Yeah, oh, what a terrible pour. Here's an example of a terrible pour. A terrible, terrible, terrible pour. That was awful. See this spout? I don't like how this spout, it's pouring down the front of the, I don't like that. There, do a little higher up. Like I'm not standing this time, so that's probably part of it. That was sure messy. Obviously standing makes a big difference.